AAA gaming is going to crash, and we should all be worried. Hey everybody, this is Nick from Threat X3 Productions, and welcome to today's Thinking About Things. Today we're talking about the industry in general and the worry that people think it's going to crash. In case you didn't catch the subtle sarcasm, it was really subtle. I mean, I don't even think you really could even tell. I don't really think that there's going to be a gaming crash. In fact, I think that gaming is as good as it's ever been for certain companies. The ones that are crashing, quote unquote, are the ones that sort of deserve it. Oh no, EA's stock prices are going down? Well, let's go grab our pitchforks and get angry at the industry. Or how about we just get mad at EA for having crappy practices? Oh no, Activision's getting hung out to dry because they're selling a red dot site. Oh no, the gaming industry! Think of the gaming industry! EA and Activision getting called out for doing crappy things, and now their stock prices going down because of said practices. Okay, yeah, totally cool. If EA and Activision and even Ubisoft and maybe even Bethesda suddenly had to stop making games, would that suddenly mean that nobody anywhere could ever make another game ever? Well, no. That's what makes this so confusing, that people are saying that games are getting ready to crash. No, I think the thing is that people are just getting smarter about their purchases. And I think that 100% has to do with sites that actually start covering controversies. Even if you go back like 5 years ago, places like IGN or GameSpot didn't really cover the negative side of gaming. It was there and people knew about it, but usually it was because you had to go to certain forums to really dig up the dirt. Now the dirt is everywhere, and that's what people like to talk about. So places like IGN and GameSpot, which are the biggest places to go, now they're starting to cover it. So now your average Joe, the guy who just wanted to look at the new trailer of Call of Duty, well, now he gets to also see a video about why Call of Duty is crappy and why you shouldn't like it. Either that, or because of the algorithm, you look at a Call of Duty trailer and then it suggests, well, hey, here's this other video about Call of Duty. Even just 5 years ago, I feel like there wasn't as many people out there with their voices talking about, hey, these things that are happening in the industry aren't right. We should do something about it. The person who was doing that was the outcast, was the outlier, where nowadays everybody's kind of doing it. And now the average person who might not look at that much media is getting smart to these kind of things. So when EA gets pissed off and says, well, if you don't like it, don't buy our game, and then what? They don't buy the game. This is madness. This is Sparta. Anyways, the main problem with the industry, or more specifically the AAA industry, as the Sterling would say, is that they're more worried about making more profit each year rather than being sustainable. There's a huge difference between being profitable and being sustainable. And that's the biggest problem that the AAA industry has, that they're more worried about getting as much money as possible rather than what they're going to be making 5 years from now. EA isn't just happy with making money, it wants all the money. You look at other people in the industry, like maybe CD Projekt Red or a Naughty Dog or Insomniac, and you don't see them complaining about the same things. And that's because they're less worried about making all the money in the world and more worried about, let's pay our people so that they can feed their family, so that they can pay their rent, so that we can make another game. And let's make sure that the game that we put out is so good that people will talk about us to all their friends and say, hey, this developer is somebody that you can trust. And next time they're ready to put out a game, instead of people going, oh, well, that's EA, so should I care about them? Perfect example is Anthem. I'm really interested in Anthem, but I'm also really extremely not interested in Anthem just because it has EA attached to it. On top of that, it has BioWare attached to it. Even though BioWare was known for its RPG and story, it's no longer known for that thanks to Mass Effect Andromeda. And you can probably blame that 100% on EA. If a brand new IP, a brand new story, something I've never heard about before in my life, it's not established, it's not a character anybody knows, but if you told me Naughty Dog was doing it, day one purchase. And that's because I know that a company like Naughty Dog, or even CD Projekt Red, or many others, you can trust them because they make good games first and then worry about how they're going to make money later. And that's the biggest difference between making a company profitable and making it sustainable. When you worry about, well, we need to make microtransactions because we're not making enough money, you're alienating parts of the demographic that maybe just want to buy the game. And no matter how much of player choice that you say there is, you still make your game in a way that makes it enticing to spend more money. And as I stated before, maybe even just 5 years ago, people didn't really catch on to that. But nowadays, with so many people covering so many games, it's hard to get it past an average gamer that your microtransactions are fair. Because there are people on the internet, on Reddit, on forums, that make it their job to point out every mistake you make. So if you would just focus on not making the mistake in the first place, you know, maybe hire people who are actual gamers, maybe do surveys by actual gamers, and then you won't have to make that mistake ever. The fact that there's going to be a crash doesn't really worry me, because if there's going to be a crash and that means we have to start from scratch, maybe that wouldn't be a horrible thing, because the ones that are going to crash are the ones that aren't sustainable. The ones that are going to stick around and keep making games are the ones that are, and that's not a bad thing. Nobody cares if EA goes under, except for obviously the people who work there. But if they wouldn't have done this kind of stuff in the first place, then they wouldn't be going downhill in the first place. So that's my thoughts about it. I just saw a trend of videos saying that there was a gaming crash coming. And I know how algorithms work. You know, as soon as I clicked on one, I started seeing a whole bunch. It was just weird that they all started coming right around the same time. So I just kind of wanted to throw my sense in there. And that's what thinking about things is really just about. It's just me thinking about things. And so now I want to know your guys' opinion. I want to know what you guys are thinking about down in the comments below. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Thinking About Things. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe here on Threat X3 Productions, and check out our podcast, Nerd to the Third, on all podcast services. Thanks and have a good day.